This is my first ever game in Unity, and in this series of tutorials I will be teaching you guys how to make this game from scratch. The tutorials will include click-based player movement, score, high score, main menu, music and sound effects, particles, spawning objects and so on. In this video we'll focus on player movement and spawning objects. Let's start. First we will create a square and call it player. Select the player and tag it as player. It seems too big in our game, so I'll increase the camera size to 10. Now select the player again and add a rigid body 2D component. Set the gravity scale to 0. Now add a box collider 2D. It is always good to be organized, so I'll create a script folder to store my scripts. So right click, create and folder. Open the folder and right click again and create a C# script and call it play movement. Now double click the script to open to Visual Studio. Okay, first let's delete these nodes because they are annoying. Now type public rigid body 2D RB, public float speed, private vector 3 mouse position and a vector 2 direction. In the start method, type RB equals get component rigid body 2D. In the update method, type if input.get mouse button down 0, which is left click. So if we click, then mouse position equals camera.main.screen to world point input.mouse position. Direction equals mouse position minus transform.position.normalized. Then rb.velocity equals new vector 2 direction.x times speed and then direction.y times speed. As rb.velocity equals vector 2.0. And up here it should be get mouse button, not get mouse button down. Let's jump back to Unity and click play. Now if we hold click and move our cursor, the player is going to follow it. And if we release the left click, then the player stops following the cursor. The background color is really bad, so I'll change it. Okay, this is fine. Now create a new sprite circle and call it apple. Select the apple and change the color to red. Then give the apple a circle collider 2D and enable its trigger. Now click on tag and add tag and call it fruit. And make sure to select the apple and change its tag to fruit. Now create another folder and call this one prefabs. Open it and drag the apple in the folder to turn the apple into a prefab. Create another circle and change the scale to 1.5 and the color to grey. So this will be our bomb. Select the bomb and give it circle collider 2D too. And we will turn this into a prefab as well. Now we have the prefabs, we don't need the ones in our scene. Now create an empty game object and call it spawner. Let's drag it a bit to the left and above our camera. Now select the spawner and add component and type spawner here, new script and create and add. Now put this script in the scripts folder too and then open to Visual Studio. We don't need these nodes or the start method, so delete them. Now create a public game object called fruit, a private float time, a public float spawn rate, a serialized field private x spawn range, and copy it down and make this one y spawn range. In the update method, if time is less than spawn rate, then time plus equals time.delta time, else time equals 0. Then create a void spawn and type x lowest point equals transform.position minus x spawn range. Then copy it and paste it 3 more times and change the names of the variables as I do. Now type instantiate fruit new vector 3, and we don't need these all because only the x position will be random. And it should be position.x. And also go up and delete the y spawn range because we don't need it. Now in the vector 3 type random.range lowest point, highest point, then transform.position.y, 0. And here type spawn rate equals random.range spawn rate minus 1 and spawn rate plus 1. Go back to Unity and we missed a comma somewhere. Okay, we need to put the comma here. Okay, now click on the spawner and I move it to the right side of the camera to measure the spawn range. And that will be 15. And spawn rate will be 0.8. And in the fruit slot, we will drag and drop our apple prefab. Click play, and for some reason it doesn't work. Let's go back and check. I'll make the time variable public so you can see it in Unity and check if that's causing the problem. Let's hit play and the spawn rate is not working properly. That's because of this line over here. So I'll just turn it into a node. Also, I actually forgot to call the spawn function here, so let's do that. Hit play. It does spawn the apples, but they don't fall down because they don't have rigid body. So let's select the apple and the bomb prefabs and give them a rigid body 2D. Now hit play. It spawns and the apples fall, however the spawn rate for some reason just keeps increasing. So I'll turn this line into a node again for now. Go back to Unity and click play. Everything works. And now we need a spawner for the bombs too. So click on the spawner and call it fruit spawner. Then duplicate it and call the other one bomb spawner. And drag in the bomb instead of the apple. And let's make the spawn rate less frequent for this one. Go back to spawner script and change the name of the variable fruit to prefab, as we don't only use it to spawn fruits but we also use it to spawn bombs. And change it down here as well. Now let's check in the prefabs into their slots again, because they were automatically unassigned because we changed the name of the variable. Now hit play and everything works. Thank you guys so much for watching, and if you could get 5 likes on this video, I will really appreciate it. Bye.